before I let you go, Bruce Feldman, what is the other story we're not talking about in college football right now? Is there one that is beginning to grow, a program that's ready to burst out, to try and burst on the scene, or another one that's falling? What am I missing here right now?
I think the story to kind of that started taking shape is, for the first time in a long time, the SEC is really looking like they're going to have a really bad year. Now, Georgia can put some perfume on it if Georgia makes a three-peat and cover up a lot of the rest of it. But you look at the rest of the conference. I mean, we just talked about Alabama. Texas A&M had one road game in the first half of the season. It was against an unranked Miami team. They went to Miami and got their butts whipped. Nobody saw, like, that was not a great Miami team. And now you got Jimbo Fisher in year 6, brought in Bobby Petrino, and they got smashed at Miami. You had a lot of other losses in there. Florida looked terrible when they went to Utah, and Utah was playing without Cam Rising. I mean, the players didn't just look bad, they looked unprepared. You have South Carolina losing to North Carolina. There was a bunch of bad performances, and so they'll play each other. Georgia's not going to, except for their Tennessee game, they're really not going to play anybody thinks is particularly good. So I think everybody knows Georgia's loaded. But beyond that, you look at it and you're like, wow, this is going to be interesting, because the swan song of the Pac-12 is going to be we think, because everything the way it's shaping up and the quarterbacks they have and the offenses they have,
it's unreal. The
best season they maybe ever had.
I'm telling you, we touched on it last week. I'm going to hit it again. I mean, if Deion had shown up a year earlier, I think the Pac-12 would have survived. I think 1,000,000%. If Deion showed up 2 years ago and
he showed up 2 years ago, and then it's the USC UCLA dynamic wasn't already lined up.
I guess that's it then,
because that's
so
the
if
Big
he had
Ten.
shown up, if this had been happening before the Big Ten poached the Los Angeles teams.
Well, what's crazy on that front is Mel Tucker leaves after 2019 to go. He has 1 year and gets people excited, and then goes to Michigan State. They end up hiring Carl Durrell. Now, I'm not saying anybody thought Deion was in play for that, right? Deion might have been a consideration in some Florida State fans' hopes. But if somehow that had lined up, it's probably a different story. Now, some of the things were much different. NIL wasn't a thing. There was just, college football wasn't the same 4 years ago.
So then I guess if their contracts didn't come home to roost until 2 years from now, and USC and UCLA didn't make the decisions that it did, and Deion showed up right now. I mean, again, you are going to Boulder, Colorado for a game that Fox isn't broadcasting. And if you look at the schedule that Colorado is, and we've been putting it up, if you ranked like the level of national interest in the games that Colorado is playing this year,
that's the lowest one on the list.
It's honestly, and so this is 100% the Deion effect in full swing.
Yeah, you could never.
The Pac-12 is just one of those conferences over the last few years. It's like their games start too late. They didn't have a package for people to see it.
A little story on this. I'm in a car flying back from Boulder, and I'm coming. They flew me into. I was about an hour and a half away in Ontario. I'm in a car talking to one of my buddies and trying to get, because the Wi-Fi on the plane didn't work, trying to get up to speed on what happened in like NC State Notre Dame. And he was like, I heard you're going back to Boulder. I'm like, no, that's wrong. I said, we're probably going back to Boulder in a couple of weeks. He goes, no, Gus said it on the broadcast. We're going. I was like, no, they play Colorado State next week. It's an ESPN game. It's late at night. No shot. And he's like, I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm like, well, that's no. And then I happened to be on the phone with my boss, who I was gonna see in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes whenever I got there. And sure enough, it just blows my mind. But again, the word I keep coming back to when it comes to Deion Sanders is unprecedented.
Yes,
all this stuff is unprecedented.
So why can't the Pac-12, just say, tough, we're not going to these conferences, and just stay together? Is it too late?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it is.
I think all this stuff has been signed, and I don't know how anybody
just break the
feels.
contract.
Call up the Big Ten and go. Yeah,
It's tough. Sorry. We're
Well,
saying.
but it's still better for them. They go to the Big Ten.
And also,
Is it?
but
Yeah.
think about it this way:
They've
the
already
leadership
left.
has not changed. Are you going to put Constance as the new commissioner
Yeah.
of the Pac-12?
Why not?
Nobody
She'd be
feels
great.
faith in the
Why not?
leadership.
Why not?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she brokers a new TV deal, and the Pac-12 is back.
Don't put it past her. You put nothing past her.
Bruce,
No,
crazier
no, but-
things have happened.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, the Big Ten's been. You don't do that to the Big Ten, Pat.
Says the Michigan
But the
guy.
Big 12 is better than the Big 10 this year.
Well, because Texas is there right
Sorry,
now.
Pac-12. Pac-12.
The Pac-12 is the Pac-12.
It's
For all we know, could be the
eight
best league.
teams in the top
It's definitely
20.
the deepest league right now
is.
Oh, yeah.
in the conference.
What a total,
I know.
absolute. I mean, it's at least they're going out with a bang.
But there's no
But
faith
it's
in
a
the leadership
total
right
gut
now of the
punch.
league in the Pac-12, and
So
I
if
think
someone
that's
new comes in, why can't they restore faith and stay
because
together?
everybody's going to be gone by that. It'll be the store will be empty.
There's a barn and there's a horse that's running out of it, and you're going to Colorado, even though you don't have the game, and the game doesn't kick until like 10 hours later, and it's totally wild, and that is a Deion Sanders effect to a T. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.